Introduction. Shuangwen+decisive killing+first killing the Virgin Mary+Empress+Empress Dowager+Criminalized woman, Lin Xing traveled across to the Dayu Palace and coincidentally became a fake eunuch without being purified. He worked as a eunuch in Yongxiang, commonly known as the royal prison, where he imprisoned the female relatives of those guilty officials. As they were preparing for the emperor's rise, they were all charming until one day, after a beautiful and unparalleled criminal woman became pregnant, Lin Xing suddenly realized that no wonder he had to do this job. It turned out that the current emperor is a daughter. Since then, more and more concubines have been imprisoned in Yongxiang due to a small mistake Empress. Your Majesty, I had a dream last night complaining about you. Please punish me to go to Yongxiang and think in seclusion. Introduction is weak, please move to the main text. Chapter 1. The Test of Beauty, Beauty Guide System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Dayu Imperial Palace, in an unknown room. Lin Xing had just emerged from a burlap bag, and in front of him stood a beautiful woman dressed in a light purple low-cut palace dress. Lin Xing looked over and couldn't help but think to herself, what a beautiful woman. So white, so big. Big, beautiful. As a traveler, even if the perfect goddesses created by AI were to come alive, he probably wouldn't have the woman in front of him, so bloodthirsty. If I could talk about life with such a woman, even if I die immediately, it would be worth it. However, Lin Xing only glanced lightly and decisively withdrew his gaze, subconsciously surveying the surroundings. He is not a noble saint, but a little life is more important. This move made the beautiful palace-dressed woman frown curiously, suddenly lacking confidence in her proud charm. Soon, when Lin Xing saw the two corpses lying next to him, his heart couldn't help but thump. Surprisingly, the two eunuchs who carried him to this unknown room, just as he had managed to emerge from the sack, quietly passed away. Killer. Who else can it be? It must be the woman in front of me who is still calm and composed. Lin Xing quickly realized that this was killing people to silence them. Half a month ago, he traveled across the country and realized that he was lying on the torture board in the clean room, bound in various ways. As for why he crossed over to occupy this body, it is highly likely that he came after the original owner was scared to death. Just kidding. After learning about the situation, Lin Xing almost didn't get scared to pee. He just thought to himself, since he had traveled through time, he wouldn't be forced to become a eunuch on the spot, would he? Next. Despite Lin Xing's hysterical curses, he still couldn't avoid the blow. However, this knife pierced the inside of his crotch. That is to say, it did not cut off the ruthlessness. Then, Lin Xing gritted his teeth and endured the pain, and was sent to the prison to recuperate for 15 days. Lin Xing was aware of the darkness in the palace, with only one thought. To live well first. It is obvious that someone deliberately left him behind, but breaking into the harem with a stick is not just for fun. To this day, he was put into a burlap bag, and the deaths of the two eunuchs who gave him away it made Lin Xing realize a little more, and I'm afraid those who knew about his fake eunuch identity might have hung up. Also, the truth of the matter naturally lies in the beautiful and ruthless woman in front of me. In fact, it cannot be said to be ruthless. The harem is such a place, with lives as light as a feather, especially for lowly eunuchs and palace maids. Every day I walk on thin ice, not to mention making a mistake. If I say a wrong word, it could be pulling me out and killing me alive, then throwing me into a deep well or throwing me into the wilderness to feed wild dogs. At this moment, the beautiful palace-dressed woman spoke up, obviously intending to give Lin Xing some time to adapt. The two corpses at his feet naturally had a sense of awe. Now I can clearly tell you that all of you have not been cleansed, it was arranged by my sister. And I can also tell you that besides me, everyone who knows your true identity is already the same as these two on the ground. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing frowned and asked in confusion, but, sister, why did you save me? Isn't it because of being handsome? Also, Lin Xing has checked countless times every day and is in perfect condition. Moreover, what made Lin Xing even more curious was that his brother, who was 20 years older, seemed to have followed him. This can be confirmed. My brother, who has been with me for over 20 years, knows the root and bottom of every curve except for how many hairs are unclear. However, this beautiful sister should not know about this matter, right? No wonder Lin Xing thinks this way. If it were anyone else, they would probably wonder if she left herself behind to use. Thinking of this, Lin Xing couldn't help but shudder in his heart. Nima was at risk of turning her back and not recognizing anyone at any time. However, upon second thought, Lin Xing realized that the woman in palace attire in front of him, although she had a decent temperament, did not look like a queen or a mistress based on her attire. Besides, even the Empress dare not be so bold, right? I'm confused again. The palace-dressed woman couldn't bear Lin Xing to think too much and said calmly, ask what you should ask, don't ask what you shouldn't ask too much. Also, remember to say less and do more, be a person with your tail between your legs, otherwise you won't die one day without knowing how. Good guy. Are you scaring me? Okay, you're tough. Lin Xing was naturally atmospheric and didn't dare to take a breath. He still reminded himself to persevere for now. When there is a hand flipping for clouds and a hand covering for rain, let's compare whose voice is louder. Yes, I understand. Lin Xing responded with a gloomy response. After speaking, he lowered his head and looked very obedient and sensible. A man can bend and stretch. The woman in palace attire nodded, her expression softened a lot, and at the same time, she breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. This handsome young man is quite impressive, and should be able to fulfill your Majesty's important task, right? Alright, I won't say anything else, sister. You, take off your pants. I'm going, is this to confirm again, or do you want to test something? Lin Xing couldn't help but mutter. However, he didn't hesitate at all and quickly took off his pants. Subsequently, the woman in palace attire coughed lightly and then chuckled lightly, Yo, I didn't expect that. Not only did you look handsome, but you also had a small and sturdy physique. I just don't know, is it? Cough. The woman in palace attire coughed lightly twice again and did not continue speaking. Although Lin Xing did not look up, there was still a hint of joy and surprise in his tone. No explanation, only one sentence. I am proud. Alright, you can lift your head now. As she spoke, the palace-dressed woman pointed to the incense table next to her and continued, Go ahead and light a incense, then come find me. Yes. Lin Xing responded without saying much, walked straight to the incense table, picked up an incense stick, lit it on the candle, and then inserted it into the incense burner. Turning behind him, Lin Xing was momentarily stunned. He saw a woman in palace attire sitting by the bed at some point, and she was also starting to dress wide. Don't be fooled, come over now. Oh, yes, yes. With the urging of the palace-dressed woman, Lin Xing quickly nodded and walked over. Under her signal, Lin Xing also sat beside her, and in an instant, a faint fragrance from above rushed towards her, stimulating her most primitive desires. Have you ever touched a woman before entering the palace? No, no. The soft voice of a woman in palace attire rang in her ears, and Lin Xing shook his head decisively. The original owner was only 16 years old and was able to get into a woman's family, but still used it to survive in the palace. This is really not there. The woman in palace attire breathed a sigh of relief, and subconsciously, her heart felt even more relaxed. Because she has never had a skin-to-skin relationship with a man before. Tonight, sister, I'll make you a real man. As he spoke, his hands directly wrapped around Lin Xing's neck and he opened his heart. Duong. With the gentle collision, Lin Xing's head suddenly felt dizzy. Target detected, the beauty guide system is officially launched. The system comprehensively evaluates stunning beauties with a charm value of 85 or above. After including their picture books, if their friendliness reaches 60, they will be eligible for a lottery opportunity. Subsequently, Lin Xing's mind flashed with a book called Beauty Illustrated Book, and he opened it on his own. The beautiful figure of a woman in palace attire appeared prominently on the first page. Beauty. Yourong charm value. 92 friendly value. 30, you may seem nervous, but it can affect the outcome. Yourong couldn't help but furrow her eyebrows when she saw Lin Xing's stupidity. Okay, for the sake of my sister's liking for you, I'll tell you everything I can. Lin Xing had already regained his senses and didn't care about studying the system. He quickly focused and perked up his ears. This was his sincere words, and he knew he would feel even more relieved. After tonight, if you are qualified. Qualified. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing's eyebrows furrowed slightly and he hammered hard. Burning incense was undoubtedly for timing purposes. At the same time, I also understand that if I am not qualified, I will only end up with one, and my neck will be twisted by the beautiful woman in front of me. After passing my sister's assessment, I will arrange for you to work as a servant in Yongxiang tomorrow. This is a place specifically for imprisoning concubines and courtiers who have made mistakes. A lady has just been sent in there, and your task is to make her conceive a dragon as soon as possible. Cough, your child. Lin Xing frowned in a sense of danger struck, so he couldn't pretend to be deaf or mute. Well, sister, my little body is definitely fine, but that lady. No way. The palace-dressed woman quickly understood what Lin Xing wanted to say, and immediately interrupted him. At the same time, she breathed a sigh of relief and almost blurted out the word dragon seed. Then she said, she just gave birth to a baby girl. What problems do you think there will be? Lin Xing nodded, feeling relieved that he had no choice but to find such a good job. So, I have to reluctantly accept fate. The palace-dressed woman straightened up and said, you only have 2 months at most, and there will be no results at that time, so there's no need to say more. Got it. Lin Xing didn't say much and had no choice but to respond, follow my sister's orders. The palace-dressed woman let out a soft sigh, her expression unable to conceal her joy. Subconsciously, she sincerely hoped that the handsome younger brother in front of her could live longer. Then, she glanced at the incense burner not far away and said, all right, I won't say much, as long as you can. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing felt a wave of disdain in his heart. Who did he look down upon? I can't help you anymore. How proud can you be? Chapter 2. First Lottery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the words fell, Yourong instinctively lay down slowly, accompanied by a tremble. Good guy. In such a situation, surprisingly still so towering and upright. Are you still allowed to live? Lin Xingdan swallowed his saliva and looked at the saliva. Is there capacity? She really deserves this name. Yourong saw Lin Xing standing in the same place, and the two thieves were staring at him with their eyes hooked. He couldn't help but chuckle and say, what a silly kid. Such frivolous temptation, like the sound of decadence, who can withstand such a test? Lin Xing didn't hesitate any longer, and in an instant, he transformed into the god of war and worked together, unable to bump his head against Zhou Shan. Quickly, a cry of surprise echoed through the entire room. Lin Xing furrowed his brow slightly, and then he realized, with the corners of his mouth slightly raised. In his past life, he had 18 girlfriends, but he never met one. However, Lin Xing did not show much pity and emotion. He is now a fake eunuch in a precarious situation. This point, no matter when, cannot be forgotten, otherwise a careless little life will be lost. Death under the peony, being a ghost is also romantic. Damn it. At this moment, although Lin Xing is very happy both physically and mentally, he always maintains a clear mind and a clear mindset towards the woman in front of him. One word, conquer. This is also the biggest trump card for a woman without emotional foundation. No mistake. The half-burning incense work passed quickly. Lin Xing also kept an eye on Su Yourong's expression changes and had already walked out of the pain. Sister, that incense has already been burned out. Do you think I'm going over now? No, please don't. At this moment, Su Yourong's face was peach-colored, her expression filled with confusion. She instinctively pinched Lin Xing's back, expressing her reluctance. However, soon she slowly opened her eyes, her expression adding some clarity. No, there's no need to go, you're already enough. It's okay. Lin Xing pretended to frown and said weakly, so, sister, do you mean that this trial is all for now? No. I'm a bit confused about what that means. Lin Xing suppressed a wicked smile in his heart and instinctively scratched his head. Upon hearing this, Su Yourong breathed a sigh of relief and said, silly kid, sister is praising your prowess. Lin Xing nodded and said with a silly smile, sister, when you say that, I also feel that I have so much strength. Pooh. Su Yourong pursed his lips and said, don't be too happy too early. Don't forget that it's going to be until dawn, this is just the beginning. Sister, I shouldn't have a problem, but it's you. What should I do if I get hurt? But I will really feel heartbroken. Lin Xing said with sincere concern. However, there is also a half-actor element. Whether to say it or not, I dare not boast about other skills. I am definitely well versed in dealing with women. Just ask you, whether it's a goddess or a woman, as long as she's a woman, she doesn't like sweet words, does she? Humph, I didn't expect you silly kid to have a sweet little mouth. However, sister, I am a martial artist and not comparable to ordinary women. You can rest assured and be bold. At this point, Su Yourong's eyes flickered, as if she was struggling with words and didn't know how to express them. Later, she instinctively looked at Lin Xing and asked again. Do you understand? Lin Xing nodded and asked curiously, sister, I only know that martial artists fight very well. I didn't expect it to be unusual in this matter. Look at me, how tired I am. While speaking, he also casually wiped the sweat beads on his forehead. Then he continued, look at my sister's calm and energetic appearance. In the future, I will also strive to become a powerful warrior like my sister, otherwise I will be sorry for my sister's cultivation. Don't worry, as long as you listen well and do things well, will there still be such a chance in the palace? Su Yourong followed suit and suddenly frowned slightly, as if thinking of something. Quickly, she pursed her lips and said to herself, this kid is not stupid at all. This bad guy is actually trying to show off his strength. Lin Xing smiled knowingly, and seeing Su Yourong's expression, it was obvious that he had understood. As expected. Su Yourong jumped up and rolled, which is the strength of a warrior, effortless. Humph, silly kid, my sister really looks down on you. You're full of bad water. Praising my sister so much, isn't it just to take a break? Lin Xing chuckled and said, sister, I'm not stupid. Men are not bad, women do not love. At this point, Lin Xing must be high-profile and not think about what kind of work he is prepared to do. To put it simply, it's similar to the work done by the young master. Can it still be done without two brushes? It is obvious that his ideas have no flaws at all. Su Yourong let out a soft sigh. The more Lin Xing behaved like this, the more she felt that this important task was none other than him. It's simple, only those who are as wise as fools are truly intelligent people. The important thing is that for her, the person in front of her is impeccable, and for a normal woman, there is absolutely no suspense. Foolish kid, I hope you can complete the assessment task with quality and quantity by tomorrow. Su Yourong, who turned the tables, finally had such an expectation in her heart. Lin Xing said, I have become a humble eunuch, can't I take a break? Keep playing music, keep dancing. The next day, it won't be bright. Yourong slowly opened her eyes. Although she was very tired and just squinted for a while, her biological clock caused her to wake up at midnight. Then, he poked Lin Xing, who was already asleep beside him. Next second, Lin Xing, who was pushed awake, had no words, and his sleepy eyes were like turning over. Yourong first furrowed her eyebrows slightly, and soon she pursed her lips and smiled. You little rascal, stop dreaming and wake up quickly. While speaking, she didn't forget to pinch Lin Xing's waist. Hush. Lin Xing took a deep breath in pain and instantly opened his eyes wide, his mind much clearer. It's not a dream. But it is a subconscious action caused by inertia. Immediately after, Lin Xing looked at Yourong and coughed slightly awkwardly. Well, I'm sorry, I thought. Yourong gave him a white glance and said, it's almost dawn now, there's really you. I need to leave for a while, you stay here and can't go anywhere. Good, Lin Xing responded. Then, don't get off me yet, get off me. Yourong pursed his lips and said angrily. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Lin Xing nodded awkwardly and quickly dodged. Soon, Yourong finished organizing and walked straight out. Sister, take your time. Lin Xing looked at her unsteady figure and couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth slightly. This woman is really a fairy. Not to mention temporarily refusing to leave, as long as someone delivers food and drinks, it's not a problem to stay indoors for half a month. Upon hearing this, Yourong just pursed his lips, and at the same time, a glimmer of anticipation arose in his heart. If this guy became a martial artist with a certain level of cultivation, wouldn't it kill him? It's hard to imagine. Although Lin Xing still doesn't know where he is, this place is truly magnificent and luxurious. He doesn't even need to leave the bathroom, and the Nima gong buckets are made of rosewood. Yourong's friendliness has reached 60, the host can draw once, Lin Xing smiled knowingly. This system can handle not only the beautiful lowly sound, but also the sensible not to broadcast during his busy time. Lottery. Lin Xing didn't hesitate, he just had a thought in his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the skill. Yang shrinking technique, flexible and flexible, good guy. Lin Xing's face was filled with joy. This skill can be said to be a blessing for fake eunuchs, and there was no need to worry about the risk of surprise inspections. System, on behalf of the 8th generation ancestors, I thank you. Chapter 3. At Yourong. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Hall of Supreme Harmony. The most imposing and majestic palace in the entire imperial palace, because it is the place where the emperor works and lives. Auntie, good morning. The guards outside the palace gate greeted Yourong respectfully when they saw him approaching. She just gestured and walked up the golden steps. The imperial guards were just watching off, and no one dared to stop them. Everyone in the palace knew that Yourong was a woman whom His Majesty affectionately calls, Big Companion, today. She looks beautiful and has a face like an 18-year-old girl, but in reality, she is already 20.8 years old. Yourong entered the palace at the age of 13 and was already an elderly person who had been in the palace for 15 years. However, he stayed in the Eastern Palace for 14 years to take care of the current emperor, who was still the crown prince at that time. This is not a secret in the palace, and His Majesty has only ascended the throne for a few months now. Soon, Yourong arrived at the entrance of the emperor's dormitory. Sister Yourong, you're here. 2 water spirit palace maids guarding the entrance of the dormitory warmly greeted Yourong, and then casually opened the entrance of the dormitory. Yourong smiled slightly and walked straight in without saying much. The 2 young palace maids also understood in their hearts that Your Majesty would not go to court today, otherwise they would not be waiting at the door, but rather going in to wash and change their clothes. Moreover, I also know that Your Majesty is naturally waiting for Sister Rong, Otherwise we would have to say 2 more words to both of them. As for what Yourong was in such a hurry for, the 2 little palace maids had no idea at all. However, both of them became accustomed to it because they knew from their time in the Eastern Palace that Sister Yourong was very close to the Crown Prince at that time. In the dormitory. In front of the dressing table, there sat a woman with loose hair. In the mirror, that is a stunning face. Upon hearing the commotion, the woman turned her head and looked up and down at Yourong, then said in a warm voice, "Sister Yourong, you're back." Yourong looked at the familiar yet long-lost stunning face in front of her, and couldn't help but furrow her eyebrows slightly. "Your Majesty, are you?" The woman gave a smile and then breathed a sigh of relief. I just haven't seen my face for a long time." "You don't have to be so nervous. The regent has been sick these past few days, and there are those 2 maids guarding outside the palace door. It must be foolproof." "Okay." Yourong breathed a sigh of relief, but it was only a subconscious nervousness. "Your Majesty, she not only has exceptional talent, but also a meticulous mind. But Your Majesty, do you plan to take a day off court if the regent does not go to court?" The Empress nodded and said, "Anyway, the entire court is under the control of the regent, and there are not many people who truly listen to me. It's better not to go to court and let him be more indifferent." Yourong let out a soft nod, and at the same time, her eyes were slightly rosy. "All right, let's not talk about these annoying things anymore. Please tell me about the situation on your end." Speaking, the Empress stood up and gestured, and the 2 of them sat down on the side. "Your Majesty, this eunuch is so great, he is simply a blessing bestowed upon Your Majesty by heaven. This guy not only looks handsome, but also is particularly brave and powerful, 7 times a night." Subsequently, Yourong brought up the interesting stories of leaving in the morning. The Empress's pretty face turned crimson and she said, "He shouldn't be a warrior yet, right?" "Yes, Your Majesty, if you become a warrior in the future, then you won't be able to." Speaking, Yourong's expression was somewhat awkward and impulsive. She knew that the Empress was not referring to this matter. She coughed lightly, straightened her face, and continued, "Your Majesty, just put it down. His background has been thoroughly investigated by the servant. He was an orphan since childhood and was sold into the palace for 3 taels of silver. There is no other way out now. I can only rely on Your Majesty, and I have a premonition that in 2 months, this boy will be able to complete the task assigned by Your Majesty." Upon hearing this, the Empress breathed a sigh of relief and then nodded. "I hope he can complete the task within 2 months. As long as I have an heir, the regent will be the concubine sent to the palace. No matter how many concubines I have, I can have a strong argument. And the Empress, it's already over a month since we got married. If we don't quickly complete the marriage, the regent may be in trouble. In times of emergency, if there are no issues with observing for a few days, let this guy round the house for me and the Empress. Moreover, if this guy is really capable of fulfilling his duties, all matters related to the harem will be entrusted to him in the future, as well as me." At this point, the Empress's face turned crimson, and she instinctively remembered that person could do it 7 times a night, and inexplicably felt a ripple in her heart. "Okay, that's him. Arrange for him to work as a servant in Yongxiang as soon as possible. Retract, shrink." Lin Xing was immersed in the joy of the lottery and lost his drowsiness, enjoying himself by walking birds. At this moment, I have tried it over 100 times, and it is indeed a thought that makes me 100% obedient. At this moment, the door opened and Lin Xing quickly put on his pants. Soon, Yourong walked up to the edge of the bed and said, "All right, get dressed and follow me." "Yes, sister." Lin Xing responded and quickly put on his coat. But as soon as he stood on the ground, Yourong couldn't help but say a hand knife, and he fainted. What Lin Xing didn't know was that this place was a palace used by the emperor for summer vacation, and this room was also the emperor's sleeping quarters. When he woke up again, he was already in the prison yard, where he had been taking care of the injured room for 15 days. Lin Xing rubbed the back of his neck, which was still slightly painful, and instinctively looked outside. It was already dawn. Yourong has already left, obviously with a good cultivation. She brought herself back without realizing it. When I went there, I was packed in a burlap bag and sent over. It's not surprising that I returned to the city with this knife. At this moment, the door was opened and a little eunuch entered. Xiaolinzi, hurry up and tidy up. The courtyard has gathered. Yes. Lin Xing responded, and the eunuch didn't say much. He turned around and left. Quickly, Lin Xing tidied up and arrived at the courtyard. At this moment, there were rows of people standing, dozens of people, obviously eunuchs who had just recovered from injuries. Lin Xing was about to stand in the crowd when the eunuch in charge in front of the queue spoke up. You don't have to squeeze inside. It happened that a eunuch just died last night in Yongxiang. You can go take on his job. Puzzling in the queue, I don't know who it was, but I couldn't help but laugh out loud. The eunuch in charge's face sank and he said sternly, who is laughing? Stand up for our family. In an instant, the atmosphere in the room became tense, and the young eunuchs even breathed cautiously. Quickly, the laughing boy stood up himself. The eunuch in charge looked coldly and snorted coldly, someone, pull me aside and beat me hard. Ah! Grandpa, please spare your life. I didn't mean to do it, I dare not do it anymore. As he spoke, the two eunuchs pulled him aside and threw him onto the bench. The two of them swung their big sticks and started fighting with each other. Suddenly, the boy lying there cried and called out to his mother, making a pig-like cry. Lin Xing saw it in his eyes and could only say that this was the imperial palace. The eunuch in charge didn't even say how many times he needed to be beaten, so it was estimated that the young man would have to receive boxed meals in most cases. Next, the eunuch in charge pointed to Lin Xing and said to the eunuch who had just called him, take him to Yongxiang to report. Chapter 4. Entering Yongxiang as a attendant and eating women. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. 2/4 of an hour later. Lin Xing was taken to a small courtyard called Yongxiang Bureau, which should be the residence of the steward on this side of Yongxiang, and can also be considered as an office space. The eunuch who led him was speechless all the way, only knowing to walk with his head down, and only looking up when encountering a bend. As a passerby, Lin Xing naturally didn't make much fuss. Obviously, he was a eunuch who understood the rules and only knew how to do things. He didn't say a word he shouldn't have said, and then looked down at his toes as he walked. The eunuch led Lin Xing towards a place that seemed to be connected by 2 rooms. The door was tightly closed, and not far from the door sat a eunuch. On the table was a pot of tea and a plate of melon seeds, squinting and drinking while basking in the sun. Such a leisurely lifestyle, although Lin Xing is not yet very clear about the level and color of the clothes of the eunuch Dayu, this eunuch is dressed in blue clothes and should be a small leader or something. This is not difficult to judge, because Lin Xing, including the young eunuch who brought him, were all dressed in gray clothes, obviously the color worn by the lowest level eunuch. In other words, as long as they change colors, they will all be gods in front of them. However, the eunuchs in charge of the prison are dressed in red, which should be higher in rank than those wearing blue. According to this inference, there should be brown, camel-colored, or gold-colored clothes on top of the red color. Lu Gonggang, this is the new person we have sent to you as our supervisor. The eunuch led Lin Xing to the front and said respectfully and humbly. Upon hearing this, the eunuch, known as Duke Lu, glanced at the two with disdainful eyes and casually said, "Wait." After speaking, he squinted his eyes again and shook his head, humming a little tune lightly. Just now, it wasn't like this. Indeed, eunuchs are all twisted in their hearts. To put it simply, the inner inferiority complex subconsciously drives them to show that sense of superiority and seek self-comfort in front of people who are not as good as him. Lin Xing thought to himself, fortunately, I'm not a eunuch. Otherwise, I would have just hit and pulled myself down. What's the point of living? Mom is forcing me to urinate, and I need to have a urinary catheter. That's why eunuchs, if they don't wear sachets, will emit a foul odor every day. Lin Xing followed behind the eunuch all the way, with a slight breeze, and the unpleasant smell hit his face. Thinking of these, he also realized that when he settled down, he should find a way to get a sachet, otherwise his masculine aura would not be a good thing. The eunuch didn't even fart and stood there waiting with his head down. Naturally, Lin Xing followed him and painted gourds and ladles. There is no other way. Before you have enough ability, you must endure it. If you can't bear it, you will have a big plan. Not to mention anything else, he was not careful and was a bit out of place. The creepy eunuch in front of him didn't like him, even if he had a few big mouths to eat. Moreover, there's no trick to teach you a new eunuch. After about a quarter of an hour, a sharp sound came from inside the room. Let them come in. Upon hearing this, Lu Gonggang quickly stood up and said, "Come with me." As they spoke, they walked straight ahead, and then the two of them followed closely. Lin Xing was a bit curious about what was happening inside the room, but he couldn't hear anything. Obviously, the eunuch in the room should be a warrior, otherwise how could he know so clearly that the two were already waiting outside the door? However, there's nothing unusual about it. This is a world of high martial arts. According to the Lin Xing system, martial arts can be divided into 9 major realms. Gathering Qi realm, mortal martial realm, true martial realm, Xuanwu realm, earthly martial realm, spiritual martial realm, breaking void realm, heavenly martial realm, and divine martial realm. Among them, each major realm is further divided into 9 sub-realms, 1 to 9 levels of heaven. Although Lin Xing now has the secret technique of shrinking yang, he is still an ordinary person. Only with the secret technique of cultivation can he enter the martial arts world. Quickly, Lin Xing and his companions followed Lu Gonggang through the door and walked in, still bowing their heads. Just as he listened, Lu Gonggang's flattering voice rang out, "Wu Gonggang, this is the new eunuch sent by the Guanlan Yuan. Raise your head." Upon hearing this, Lin Xing knew he was definitely referring to him, so he slowly lifted his head and only then did he realize that Wu Gonggang, dressed in a red robe, was sitting next to a woman. However, he didn't dare to look around much, he just glanced at his bulging chest. "What's your name?" "If I were to return to my father.in.law, little Lindsay." Lin Xing calmly replied that once he entered the palace, he couldn't reveal his full name. "It should be Xiao Lindsay on the roster." Lu Gonggang nodded and said, This one looks much smarter than the previous one." "Alright, that's him. You can go back and hand over the task now." "Yes, Grandpa." The eunuch who brought Lin Xing responded with a nod and obediently retreated. Later, Wu Gonggang waved his hand and said, "Alright, Xiaomatsi, why don't you take this kid and get out of here? Our family needs to take a nap. By the way, the 200 taels of silver you owe me, hurry up and pay me back." "Don't worry, Godfather. My son will definitely return it to you as soon as possible." Xiaomatsi is naturally the flower name of Duke Lu. He had a smiling face and a servile demeanor, nodding and bowing. Lying trough. Lin Xing couldn't help but exclaim in his heart the essence of Chinese culture. What he portrayed in TV dramas was real, and he was a palace thug. If he wanted to rise to the top and live well, he had to recognize his godfather. Whether to say it or not, having a godfather is not a big deal. In any era, it is important to have a godfather. It's necessary to be a few lv-bu for the sake of living well, it doesn't matter. Proud of stabbing my adoptive father. At this moment, the woman next to Duke Wu spoke up, "Wait." Upon hearing this, Lu Gonggang immediately stopped walking, and Lin Xing had not yet moved. "What's wrong, sweetheart? Good guy." Wu Gonggang's one sentence carries a lot of information, which is truly accurate. The two of them are in a relationship of food. Moreover, Xiaomatzi is still letting out the breeze, and the two of them are determined not to do anything good inside the house. However, a true eunuch can have any malicious intentions, and that's not all it is. With this in mind, Lin Xing instinctively glanced at the woman, her bulging object, and her voice sounded enchanting, making him curious about her appearance. Just a glance. Lin Xing saw it clearly, no wonder Duke Wu was not polite to them, looking like a licking dog in front of the woman. Charming and charming, she looks really good. The woman then said, my waist is a bit uncomfortable. This little eunuch looks quite pleasing to the eye. Let him give my mother a good press. Upon hearing this, Duke Wu chuckled inwardly and said, okay, this is not a trivial matter. As he spoke, he sternly said to Lin Xing, Xiao Linzi, take good care of this ant. She's not happy about it. We'll break your dog leg. Lin Xing cursed inwardly at Lao Yinbi, but he didn't dare to neglect her. Don't worry, father.in.law. I will definitely serve you with care. Auntie, are you satisfied now? Take a good rest and let's go play a few games. Let's have a good conversation tonight. Speaking, Duke Wu pinched the woman's buttocks and then walked out with a big smile, followed by Xiao Maozi. Mom sells batches, and the dog days are quite carefree. She has nothing to do but play cards and dice, and at night, there are delicate women who warm their beds. I really agree with that sentence. If you have something to do, the secretary will do it. If you have nothing to do, the secretary will do it. However, the former secretary is his lackey little furry. After the two of them left, Xiaomatzi casually closed the door. The woman slowly stood up and said, follow me. Lin Xing responded and followed the woman into the inner room. In the hall where he was now, there were two doors on both sides, so naturally there were two rooms. In the room where Lin was walking, he also casually closed the door. The woman smiled coquettishly and said, you're quite sensible, kid. Sister flattered me. Lin Xingwei lowered his head and said something. Later, the woman chuckled again and said, interesting, my little mouth is quite sweet, my sister likes it. We're the only two of us here. That ghost won't come back until night. You don't have to be shy, just lift your head and look wherever you want. Sister, I am very good. Looking. I dare not, little one. Lin Xing thought in his heart that this woman was showing off her charm in front of him. Who wouldn't like such a handsome little fresh meat? However, he dare not take it lightly, in case it is a gentle trap. Thinking of this, Lin Xing quickly put away his heartlessness in thought. He is not a wise man. He is young and energetic, so he can easily set up his tent. Yourong, that fairy, just told him the purpose of coming here, without any other explanation. Obviously, it could be a test. Just doing the job beautifully won't even make it through an episode, so it can only be treated as waste. If you die, you deserve it. As she spoke, the woman slowly approached and calmly lifted Lin Xing's chin. Little rascal, don't think sister doesn't know. You just stole a peek at where sister came from. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing's face turned red and he dared not look directly at the seductive gaze of the woman. However, she also looked at the woman with a blush on her face and a fiery gaze. Lin Xing suddenly had a thought in her heart. She wouldn't want to be unsatisfied with her desires, would she? Chapter 5. Sister is uncomfortable, but not waste. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The two of them were close at hand, and the woman exhaled like a orchid. Waves of heat hit Lin Xing's face, accompanied by a pleasant fragrance, which really made him feel a bit confused. A normal man should not be able to withstand the teasing of such a mature and charming woman, let alone a young man with strong blood. Lin Xing tried to adjust his breathing frequency as much as possible, but his breathing still seemed slightly solemn and restrained. Even real eunuchs don't feel good, let alone fake eunuchs like Nima. Thank you again to the system, Dad. If it weren't for the yang reduction technique, I'm afraid I would be missing it at this moment. Sister, don't do this. If you have anything to do, just give me your orders. Lin Xing said, somewhat embarrassed. Although he was somewhat excited in his heart, his subconscious sense of defense remained undiminished, constantly reminding himself of the wise saying, a knife before a color. In any case, without complete safety, he will never act recklessly and will not easily trust anyone, especially beautiful women. As for Su Yourong, there is no other way, otherwise the dog's life would be gone. The woman stared at Lin Xing's handsome face and pursed her lips, saying, you're really likable, kid. As she spoke, she also released Lin Xing's chin. Hush. Suddenly, her eyebrows furrowed slightly, accompanied by a soft moan. Lin Xing naturally looked in his eyes and quickly asked, Sister, what's wrong with you? Is your waist uncomfortable? The woman took a deep breath and instinctively glanced at Lin Xing before nodding, you're quite careful. I thought you nervously forgot what I said. No way, I was born with the fate of serving people with hardship. My sister instructed me, so I naturally kept it in mind at all times. Upon hearing this, the woman let out a soft nod and a joyful expression appeared on her face, but it was only for a moment. Sister is not feeling well, but it's not her waist. It's not my waist, where is that? Lin Xing's mind was a bit confused in an instant. She didn't really feel as uncomfortable as she had just thought. Alright, I won't say much more. It's really uncomfortable. Come and give me a rub. As she spoke, the woman slightly bent down and stumbled towards the bed. Good guy. Lin Xingdan swallowed his saliva, but he looked at it from the back, wasn't it intentional? Don't be stunned, come over and rub me quickly. It's hurting even more now. After the woman approached the bed, she turned around and said. Oh, good. Lin Xing briefly lost consciousness and quickly walked over in response. Subsequently, the woman lay on the bed. Next second. Lin Xing couldn't help but frown. She was lying flat. Sister, are you? He looked at Ding Qing and realized that she might really be in pain somewhere, because there was a slight sweat on her forehead. My lower abdomen hurts. During the conversation, the woman instinctively placed her hand on her lower abdomen and rubbed it twice. Can't it be something that happened? Lin Xing is very familiar with this matter, because the woman she has served cannot remember clearly. Moreover, we don't let by busy with work, we just give him big gifts. However, this and that have changed, low.key. Lin Xing stood by the edge of the bed with a bewildered expression on his face. Sister, how can I help you? It can be imagined that it is abnormal for you, a little eunuch, to know too much. The woman breathed a sigh of relief again, but was not angry. Her tone was relatively calm and she said, you, just rub it for me like this. During the conversation, she rolled her hand around her lower abdomen as a demonstration for Lin Xing. Lin Xing sat sideways on the edge of the bed. Just as she was about to get started, the woman said, help me undress. You, go in and rub it. This so-called undressing does not mean taking off clothes. Lin Xing still has this insight. The service of women in Dayu is like Hanfu, with the upper body as clothing and the lower body as clothing, skirt, consisting of two parts. Of course, there are still obscene clothes worn by women inside. In layman's terms, they are belly pockets. There's no need for Lin Xing to pretend to be confused about the matter of undressing. If he continues to lick his face and ask, it won't be like a big sand sculpture. He trembled and shook, first unfastening the waistband. Later, before Lin could take action, she lifted her shirt up and down on her own. Next, Lin Xing followed her demonstration and turned in circles around her flat and smooth abdomen. There is no excess fat, but it is not pork ribs either. Some meat has an excellent texture. Whoa. The woman closed her beautiful eyes slightly and muttered to herself subconsciously twice. Lin Xing was very clear in his heart that this could alleviate the pain. There was no need to mention the things that painkillers didn't have, and using a hot towel for hot compress had a better effect. But he can't understand, let alone say. Although it may be a bit agonizing, it is still important to concentrate and do the work in front of you calmly. It can also be considered a kind of mental training. It's hard to guarantee that one day you won't be able to withstand such temptation and expose your horse's feet, and then your life will be in danger. Lin Xing knew this very well in his heart. Although Su Yourong was very satisfied with him, he knew very little about the situation. It can be said that at least for now, it seems like he is fighting alone with only one stick. Ugly to hear, I don't have the ability to survive, I deserve to die. Lying trough. Lin Xing unintentionally drew a slightly larger circle, feeling a bit prickly and couldn't help but exclaim in his heart the essence of Chinese culture. Immediately after, he quickly moved his hand up, and Nima couldn't be distracted. One careless move was due to inertia. She frowned and didn't open her eyes. You don't have to worry about anything, she said. That's where it hurts the most. That's absolutely right, women should all be the same. Oh. Lin Xing responded with a sigh of relief. Since everyone had said that, as a foolish kid, he knew nothing and could confidently handle it. Next, the woman didn't say anything more, closed her eyes slightly and enjoyed it, occasionally feeling relieved. Obviously, she's not pretending, she's really uncomfortable, it's just that this method can only alleviate some discomfort. To put it simply, there is still a bonus for diverting attention. Lin Xing naturally didn't say much, just silently comforting her lower abdomen. Anyway, he didn't have any worries anymore, just like a donkey pulling a mill, spinning in circles. However, consciousness has shifted elsewhere. At the moment when the woman's smooth jade hand touched Lin Xing's chin, the beauty mirror, in his mind had a strange movement. Undoubtedly, the charming and enchanting woman in front of me has also met the requirements for inclusion. At the same time, Lin Xing also understood that only with physical contact with the beauty can the system trigger the scanning function. Beauty. Gu Lingshuang charm value. 90 friendly value. 20. At this point, her graceful figure also appeared on the second page of the Golden Book of Beauty. It should be said that although Gu Lingshuang's charm value is slightly lower than Su Yourong's, the mature aura emanating from her whole body but subconsciously, it makes people more obsessed. Of course, Su Yourong crossed that door, and it must be incomparable in the future. The first time we met, we had a friendly rating of 20, and even in front of such a beautiful woman, Lin Xing had to boast about it. Our charm was definitely impressive. Friends of women, do you have any? Before entering the palace, you probably didn't touch a woman, did you? You are listening at novelfull.audio. I don't know how long it has been, let alone how many turns it has taken. Lin Xing only knows that his wrist is numb. Anyway, half an hour is definitely not enough, but he feels more tired than an hour of work. I really don't want to go around in circles anymore. Nima is just tormenting. It's better to be exhausted. Fortunately, Gu Lingshuang, whose face was already flushed and pale, may have sensed Lin Xing's inner monologue and slowly opened his eyes. I'm much better now, you can take a break. It's okay, sister, I'm not tired. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing felt relieved and instinctively increased his efforts. Gu Lingshuang pursed her lips and smiled, all right, let's take a break. In case you feel uncomfortable again soon, we'll need you. Lin Xing nodded and said, well, thank you very much, sister. What's there to thank you for? You've made me feel a lot more comfortable. It should be my sister thanking you. Also, sister, I don't like to owe others any favors. So, sister, I must thank you, tell me, how do you want me to thank you? As long as it's something that sister can do, whenever you speak up, sister, I can do it. As she finished speaking, Gu Lingshuang looked at Lin Xing, her eyebrows flickering slowly, not to mention how charming she was. Lin Xing breathed a sigh of relief in his heart, it was simply a challenge to his moral character. However, in just a blink of an eye, he waved his hand and said, "Sister, this is all just a matter of hands. No need, really don't thank me." If it weren't for being in the palace, Nima would have taken off her pants while speaking. Who is afraid of who? Thank you very much. If you don't promise me, I'll be in a hurry with you. You probably haven't touched a woman before entering the palace, have you? No, no. Lin Xing looked embarrassed, whether to say or not, with a restless heart and a slightly feverish face. Moreover, when asked, this statement means nothing more obvious than a severe test of the Dao heart. So, don't you want to make up for some regrets? If you want, sister can fulfill your wish. Also, don't worry, even if that annoying eunuch comes back with his sister around, nothing will happen. When Gu Lingshuang said the words, castrated goods, his expression of disdain and disgust was evident. Eunuchs. I, theoretically speaking, am not also within this range. Her momentary disgust towards eunuchs could not have been intentional, could it be that she looked a bit handsome? Lin Xing felt a murmur in his heart, and his guard grew stronger. Sister, I. Don't be insincere, sister. I'm not stupid. A eunuch like you who has just cleansed his body can't erase a man's true colors for a while. Halfway through Lin Xing's words, Gu Lingshuang interrupted him directly. In fact, he wants to be honest, and I have some thoughts. Lin Xing understands this principle, but in this way, there is no need to speak for himself. Then he nodded and said, Sister said yes, but I'm okay, little brother. I can't thank my sister so much for being so kind to me. It's too late. How dare I have any blasphemy? The explanation is quite good. Upon hearing this, Gu Lingshuang slowly sat up and straightened her waist, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Without more constraints, it becomes even more magnificent and magnificent. She looked at Lin Xing's charming smile and said, Do you really think so? Lin Xing nodded solemnly and said, Yes, sister. Is that right? Lin Xing couldn't bear to look straight at her anymore and looked at her with a firm expression. Sister, if you don't believe me, he said, Little one, I can swear to the heavens. Upon hearing this, Gu Lingshuang stared at him with a smile on her face, remaining silent. Okay. Lin Xingxin's heart was horizontal. Even a passerby in the hall was afraid of sacrificing their parents, let alone being struck by lightning. I, Xiao Linzi, swear that if I have any inhumane evil thoughts towards my sister, let me. At this point, Gu Lingshuang's warm and fair hands directly blocked his mouth. All right. Stop talking anymore, I believe you. After speaking, she withdrew her hand. However, I have silently finished posting. Lin Xing said firmly. The truth is, he silently said to himself. Let me pretend to be struck by lightning. I just want to try whether I am spiritual or not. Maybe I can just go back and become the emperor of the 70.2 concubines in the 3 palaces, 6 courtyards. You don't have to put in so much effort here. However, whether or not to say it, it's best to wait until this trip is unfortunate before returning. Please, my adoptive father, bless me. Immediately afterwards, Gu Lingshuang chuckled and said, Don't worry, what you don't say will not work. Does she not believe it? It doesn't matter, anyway I don't believe it myself, just don't make any mistakes. Then, Gu Lingxue solemnly said, After passing this village, there won't be this shop anymore. Of course, if you are afraid because you are worried that your sister will harm you, then your sister can also swear to you to rest assured. No, sister, no need, I believe you. I swear that no matter what happens today, no third person will know. Lin Xing reached out and wanted to emulate her, but was grabbed by Gu Lingshuang's wrist, which was not only precise but also powerful, making him unable to move at all. Violating this oath, let me Gu Lingshuotian strike 5 thunderbolts. After speaking, she finally let go of Lin Xing's wrist. With just this one move, I can't guarantee that I, who is now fighting 5 scumbags, am not really her opponent. Good guy. She swore that she was different from herself and was absolutely trustworthy. Besides, Gu Lingshuang may still be a warrior, so the oath is even more important. But why is this? It's not a great favor, shouldn't it be a promise with one's own life? Even if you are a eunuch, what kind of bad intentions can you have? Is it possible that she is seeking something from herself? Although Lin Xing couldn't understand, he was more inclined towards this reason in his heart, even though he was still nothing. Read on to this. Lin Xing exploded instantly and couldn't hold on anymore. He wanted to immediately recite to himself, "The peng spreads its wings, extends." Faced with the sexy object in front of him, he really wants to starve wolves and pounce on food. However, reason told him that at this time, it may not be appropriate. You step on a horse and don't even have a job to do. You dare to sleep in the room of your immediate superior who can crush you at any time, as if it were his woman who gave you the courage. With these thoughts in mind, Lin Xingling's Lingtai felt a bit clearer. He looked at Gu Lingxue and instinctively looked at the roof again. Puzzle. She laughed out loud and said, "What, you figured it out?" It was obvious that Lin Xing's unintentional actions made Gu Lingshuang think that he still doubted her oath. By understanding the other way around, you know that you can't possibly not want to. Indeed, that's right, Lin Xing has really figured it out. Since that's the case, they have all sworn that their doubts can be put aside for the time being. Sister, I want to know that you and Duke Wu. Chapter 7. Rewards. Even eunuchs cannot withstand it. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Why are you asking this? Cluck, you kid, you said you don't have any thoughts about your sister. Gu Lingshuang looked at Lin Xing with a smile on her face, but her gaze shifted downward for a longer time. As an experienced lover, Lin Xing naturally understands that this is a woman's subconscious reaction, just like when a man looks at a woman, he first looks towards the surging place. Moreover, Lin Xing had made thorough preparations in advance, so he naturally didn't panic at all. Not to mention reading, he had no problem getting started. However, what he didn't notice was that Gu Lingshuang's eyes were fixed on her, although she didn't stay long, her eyebrows furrowed tightly and her expression was strange. However, Lin Xing was completely unaware. Yes, he was somewhat embarrassed. The reason why he asked so was because he felt a bit unhappy. Such a beautiful woman, even if she was just flattering Duke Wu Chuing, would not be happy as a man. Naturally, the reason why Gu Lingshuang said so is also due to this consciousness. Sister, I don't mean anything else. It's not like I just entered the palace, I don't understand many things, I'm just a little curious. Lin Xing admits that he has some significant dissatisfaction, but it is not something he can change at the moment. What is important is that, as he said, he wants to take the opportunity to understand the situation in Xiaoyong Lane. He has read Sun Tzu's Art of War, he knows himself and his enemy. Gu Lingshuang lifted her head and regained a charming and smiling expression. You don't need to explain anything, your little thoughtfulness, sister still doesn't know. Ah. Lin Xing gave a silly smile. Gu Lingshuang pursed her lips and then said with a slightly serious tone, I don't need to tell you much about what this place is. Lin Xing nodded. Later, she continued, Wu De, oh, that's Duke Wu. He's the Yongxiang Ling, the largest eunuch here. Not only do you need to be extremely obedient to this person, but you must also be extra careful. If he harbors resentment, his life may be at risk at any time. Do you know how the little eunuch you were missing died? Oh, I died, couldn't I have been killed by Duke Wu? Lin Xing pretended to be somewhat shocked, as he was mentally prepared for the darkness in the palace. Sister won't hide it from you, just like you reported today, staring at her. It's just that the kid has lost his mind, so naturally he was caught by Wu De. Then, within 3 days of being on duty, Wu De casually found a reason and killed him. Lying trough. However, Nima's death was not unjustified at all. With a knife at the beginning of the character "say," he truly answered this sentence. Lin Xing secretly roasts that he was lucky enough to be cruel and rational to himself. Also, Wu De still has some connections in the palace. He personally told me that his godfather is the deputy general manager of the palace, and this deputy general manager is a member of the regent king. Regent. Lin Xing noticed a detail. When Gu Lingshuang mentioned these 3 words, there seemed to be a hint of hatred flashing in her expression, as if there was some deep hatred. Of course, Lin Xing has no knowledge of this regent king, and the memories of the original owner are of no value. A low-level lord who has been bullied by people all year round would not have any insights from the court. However, Lin Xing is not foolish enough to delve into these matters, as he is currently at a loss for himself. Gu Lingshuang's expression only flashed by, and she quickly continued, "The task you are taking over is actually a very good one, which is to deliver meals to the woman locked up in Yongxiang every day. Don't underestimate this job, it's just Wu Da's top confidant, Xiao Mao. That kid has long wanted to do this job, and Wu Da wants him to do it too, but that kid doesn't look good. I heard that the eunuchs who deliver food in the entire Yeding court insist on having beautiful facial features. The reason why the prison can send you over is probably because of your handsome appearance. This is quite a rare thing." However, Lin Xing didn't ask too many boring questions. The eunuch who delivered the food should be good-looking. Obviously, this should be the rule in the palace, but it's absolutely impossible to just let those women look pleasing to the eye. The specifics are not very clear. After all, Yongxiang is not only imprisoning the female relatives of the criminal officials, but also the empress who made mistakes. Anyway, they are all women with status, probably considering the dignity of the royal family. "Tell my sister, is there any connection in your palace?" Gu Lingshuang suddenly asked this question. Sister laughed and said, "I have nothing to do with it. I was sold into the palace by human traffickers for a few taels of silver, and I can't figure it out. The confused person was arranged by the magistrate to come here." Lin Xing still has this kind of city government. No matter who, even if the knife is on his neck, he cannot reveal Su Yourong a word. His little life can be considered in the hands of others, and this must be carried out clearly. "Oh, that might just be a coincidence." Gu Lingshuang nodded and didn't ask this question again. Then she continued, "By the way, you need to be careful with that little furry guy. He's not a bad guy. He's a loyal henchman of Wu De, and in this Yongxiang, he's one person below him. No one dares to provoke him. Other things, it's nothing else. Sister only knows about these things. What happens in the future depends on your own destiny. However, don't worry, as long as my sister can help you, she will definitely not stand idly by. Thank you for your advice, sister. You have been so kind to me, and now I may not be able to repay my sister's kindness. But sister, rest assured that one day, I will definitely repay my sister's kindness well." Lin Xing's words are very sincere, and there is a hint of confidence in his expression. When it's time to be high-profile, it's better to be a bit more high-profile. This is the same principle as investing. If you make others lose hope, why do they selflessly help you? Being handsome is just an advantage. Upon hearing this, Gu Lingshuang looked at Lin Xing with a coquettish smile and said, "I just understood. You can repay me now." Lin Xing quickly tried to avoid her gaze as much as possible. It was really tempting. If this continues, I really don't know how long I can resist it. Although I feel like I can trust her, I can't guarantee everything, absolutely not. The previous eunuch hung up because of a momentary obsession. Who knows if it was just like herself, or because she couldn't get into her bed. In theory, there is a possibility, but it is unlikely. Faced with such a charming and alluring woman, a eunuch may not be able to withstand it, right? Sister, don't misunderstand me. I have been alone since I was young, and my sister has been so kind to me. I really treat you like my own sister. But I really think that when I have the ability, I will let you live a good life, sister." During his speech, Lin Xing's eyes turned red, afraid that he would cry if he continued speaking. He is not a woman of benevolence, this is smoothness. No matter who she is, she can definitely catch everything in one go without any mistakes. Although the harem is full of fighting and killing, it definitely cannot be separated from worldly wisdom. Chapter 8. Drool. Nima wouldn't have let me eat it, would she? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Seeing Lin Xing's sincerity, Gu Lingshuang frowned and couldn't help but think to herself, this guy really has two brushes, it's not easy. However, soon she just chuckled and said, what a silly kid, teasing you. Alright, sister believes you. Lin Xing nodded, this level has passed, a humble eunuch. These days, it is necessary to pretend to be a grandchild without integrity and limits, and secretly write it down in a notebook once you stand up, but if there is a chance, just flip it over and not even get a chance to drink water. These have silently become Lin Xing's motto. At this moment, there was a faint knocking outside the door. Madam, madam. Lin Xing vaguely heard the commotion and instinctively stood up to the side. Gu Lingshuang glanced at him, pursed her lips and smiled calmly, saying, it's Zayamotsi, you go open the door. Oh, yes. Lin Xing responded and couldn't hear clearly through the two doors, thinking to himself that Gu Lingshuang must not be an ordinary person. Also, that Grand Duke Lu must be a warrior. Opening the door, it was indeed Xiao Mao, holding a food box in his hand. Subsequently, Zayamotsi ignored Lin Xing and walked straight in with the food box. Upon entering the door, he even gave him a glare, with an undisguised expression of resentment and jealousy. Are you jealous of your handsome appearance, or are you fortunate enough to serve the beautiful Gu Lingshuang as soon as you arrive? However, Lin Xing did not hesitate about what could be done if he was shot while lying down. As Lin Xing closed the door, he looked out at the sky and saw that it was around 8 or 9 o'clock. There should be breakfast in the food box. Gollum Lin Xing's stomach protested. Just now, he didn't have any other thoughts. Seeing the food box made him feel hungry. Thinking about it, Yourong felt angry. That girl tossed around all night, coming back and forth before dawn, not knowing how to bring her man something to eat. Woman, next time we meet, let's make you look good. After Lin Xing closed the door and turned inside, Xiao Maozi had already placed the dishes in the food box on the table. At this moment, Gu Lingshuang also swaggered out of the room. Xiao Maozi immediately smiled and said, Madam, this is what Duke Wu specifically instructed the kitchen to do for you. Speaking, he wiped the stool with his sleeve again. Madam. This title has left Lin Xing a bit confused. How could this title possibly exist in this place? He knew that besides the criminal wife and the cold concubine, there were only eunuchs in Yongxiang. Yes. Lin Xing suddenly realized that Gu Lingshuang should be a criminal woman, definitely not the empress who fell here. Give Duke Wu that eunuch 100 courage, even if he doesn't entertain the deposed concubine, he never has the courage. Only by being a criminal woman imprisoned here, can Wu possibly secretly get her by his side. That's easy to explain. Zayamotsi's private title of madam is just right. It's a real blow, she must be a criminal woman detained here. However, Lin Xing cannot be certain whether Yourong wants him to get pregnant with this one, it is unknown. I didn't explain anything to him much, just told him that this woman had just given birth to a child. On the other hand, Gu Lingshuang's charm is diverse and flavorful, and even Nima couldn't judge it. I can't figure it out. At this moment, Gu Lingshuang sat rudely on the stool that Xiao Maozi had wiped. The reason why this seemingly cunning little furry is so respectful to her is naturally due to Duke Wu. Xiao Linzi, thanks to you, my waist feels much more comfortable. You've worked hard, let's sit down and eat something together. After sitting down, Gu Lingshuang first looked at Lin Xing and then said to Xiao Maozi, Lu Gonggong, please go and get another set of bowls and chopsticks. Xiao Maozi was momentarily taken aback, feeling uncertain and cursing. However, soon he looked like a servant and said, "Madam, it's probably not enough. It's time to deliver breakfast soon. Wu Gong will take Lin Xing on a tour, and he will be responsible for the delivery of breakfast in the future." You spicy neighbor. Lin Xing couldn't help but curse in his heart. The greedy insect had just woken up and was beaten to death again. He was really hungry, at least let me deal with 2 bites. He is certain that Xiaomatzi will let him eat later and go straight to work. Since that's the case, then go ahead. Yes, madam, please use it slowly. I'll take my leave. Gu Lingshuang couldn't say anything more, Xiaomaozi responded, and then Lin Xing followed him out. Linzi, you can do it. It seems that this lady is quite fond of you. After leaving, Xiaomaozi glared at Lin Xing and said unfriendly. Take a closer look at Lin Xing, and the more he feels dissatisfied. Who made you look so handsome? To be precise, Xiaomatzi has no good looks towards any eunuch who is taller than him and has a lower status than him. This is not the first time he has brought food to Gu Lingshuang. Not to mention leaving him to eat together, he didn't even say anything polite. What's even worse, Xiaomatzi felt inferior and didn't even look at him directly. However, Duke Wu has said such things. Do you know why he values you? It's because you're ugly. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing instinctively felt a sense of crisis. He must always be on guard against this kid. In this situation, if he was deceived by this guy, there would be nothing better. If there's a chance, I'll kill you first to prevent future troubles. Gong, the little one is a lowly life. Whatever you ask, you can do it. As soon as I enter the palace, I don't understand too many rules. If there is anything that offends Gong, please forgive me. As long as you say so, I will definitely follow suit. Lin Xingxi unequivocally picked up her grandson. The magic weapon of women is tears, and showing weakness is the best weapon for men. Humph, just no. Xiaomatzi just snorted coldly. With Lin Xing's words, he really didn't have much to say, but he had already made up his mind to pay attention. If it fell into his hands, he would definitely go to hell. Anyway, at first glance, you just don't like it. Also, the most crucial thing is that my godfather is very rare for my aunt, so don't be careless and let this little white face in front of you occupy your position. So, he must be fucked. Quickly, the two of them left the small courtyard and entered a relatively dilapidated but larger courtyard next door. There are also many houses inside, and there are 2 eunuchs brushing toilets in the courtyard, which is probably the gathering place for ordinary eunuchs. The toilet that was painted should have been taken out of those women's rooms. This job seems to be quite impressive. Missed grass, is there still any way to save it? Thinking of this, Lin Xing couldn't help but self-deprecate. Lu Gong. Xiaomatzi walked by, and the working eunuchs respectfully greeted him. This kid was so arrogant that his eyelids didn't even droop. Quickly, the 2 of them arrived at the kitchen, where several eunuch cooks were busy. Xiaomaozi sat down on the stool and then smiled at Lin Xing. Linzi, you should be hungry, right? Lin Xing looked at Xiaomaozi with a sinister smile on his face, and even his heels knew that he didn't hold his breath. Are you hungry or not? I'm afraid we can't escape. Lin Xingxin nodded and said, father.in.law. Who? Bring me a bowl of congee. Xiaomaozi shouted to the side with a sharp voice. Soon, a eunuch brought a bowl of porridge and put it on the table in front of Xiaomaozi. Then, without saying a word, Xiaomatzi went straight to the porridge bowl and spat a mouthful of water. Lin Xing suddenly widened his eyes and inwardly exclaimed, Isn't this Nima trying to make me eat? Chapter 9. Subtotal. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Xing thought that Xiaomaozi wanted to vent his personal anger and would probably let himself eat the bowl of porridge with saliva in front of him. A burst of goosebumps arose, and my stomach suddenly rolled. He can pretend to be his grandson, but he can't tolerate such a shameful situation. Never. Lin Xing's mind was thinking quickly about countermeasures, but if it really didn't work out, Nima would fight. Regent. Gu Lingshuang. Offensive women, yes, I can make use of the coherence in it myself. Lin Xing's mind quickly flashed these key words, and suddenly had an idea. As expected. Seeing Lin Xing's expression not quite natural, Xiao Maozi felt a wave of pride in his heart and said without hesitation, Xiao Linzi, since you're hungry, let's take advantage of the heat. While it's hot, your mother. Grandpa, I have something I would like to report to you separately, do you think? Lin Xing had an idea in his heart, but he didn't just agree and just signal to take a step to speak. Xiao Maozi frowned and instinctively glanced at Lin Xing, thinking to himself, does this kid want to give himself money? However, it's not easy to use it. You need silver, and you have to eat this bowl of congee. Xiao Linzi, you just entered the palace, and we may not be very clear about the rules of Yongxiang. I did this for your own good. If you can't even bear this little grievance, it's not suitable to hang out here, and you can't hang out anywhere in the palace. Xiao Maozi spoke seriously, of course, for the sake of possible filial piety, otherwise he wouldn't have said such nonsense. Lin Xing snorted coldly in his heart. If it were a bath fragrance soup for a beautiful woman in the harem, even if it was foot wash, I also acknowledge it. What is it that you step on a horse? It's disgusting even after eating Xiaoqiang. Don't be discouraged, kid. Speaking, Zaimatsi waved his hand directly to the busy eunuch over there. Xiao Nyozi, come here. As he spoke, a young and somewhat chubby eunuch walked over. You, eat this bowl of congee. Yes, father.in.law. Without saying a word, the calf picked up the porridge on the table and ate it at one go. The rice particles at the bottom of the bowl were all pulled into the stomach with their hands, looking like they were eating with relish. Soon, a clean empty bowl was placed on the table again. Bull, he's a ruthless person. Xiao Maozi smiled and said, Xiao Linzi, have you seen it? Xiao Nyozi also came a few days earlier than you. He is a promising eunuch. Alright, Zionyozi, go ahead and get busy. I'll give you a white steamed bun to eat later. Thank you very much, Grandpa. As he spoke, Zaimatsi pointed to the remaining people and continued with a proud expression, you ask, who hasn't eaten our saliva? Upon hearing this, Lin Xing remained silent, looking for any other tricks to follow. Then, Zaimatsi had another bowl of porridge filled. In the future, Xiaolin will be responsible for delivering meals. This is a beautiful job, and there will definitely be a bright future ahead. You all come over and spit a mouthful of water into the bowl alone, which can be considered a help to Xiao Linzi. With Zaimatsi's command, the eunuchs present did not hesitate at all and came over to follow suit. Xiao Linzi, you are a talented person, so naturally you are different from others. Speaking, Zaimatsi spat heavily into the bowl again. Please use it, don't disappoint everyone's hard work and dedication towards you. If you succeed in the future, don't forget us all. Don't worry, if I forget anyone, I won't forget you. Let's wait and see. Lin Xing thought to himself that in his heart, Zaimatsi was already a dead person. Alright, Xiaolin, don't procrastinate. There's still something important to do later. Zaimatsi's urging passage is full of yin and yang. Okay, here we go. Lin Xing did not hesitate any longer, and directly took up the bowl of porridge on the table. However, he didn't say goodbye, but instead fell heavily to the ground. With a shattering sound, Zaimatsi's proud expression instantly sank, and the eunuchs present also looked over. Xiao Linzi, you're stepping on a horse to seek death, aren't you? During the conversation, Xiao Maozi stood up with a jerk. However, when he looked fiercely at Lin Xing, he found that not only did he look calm, but he was also staring at himself. What do you mean by that? Lin Xing's performance surprised Zaimatsi for a moment, and he felt a bit lacking in confidence. Grandpa, I really have something important to report to you. Please take a step to speak. Lin Xing showed no fear and had a calm and composed expression. Shuangwen couldn't help but smack his tongue. He was not foolish either, and there was a feeling that something might happen. This little Lin seemed afraid that it might not be so simple. Okay, if you dare to lie to me, you kid, just wait and see. Whatever you look at, give me a good job. As Zayamazhi walked out, he didn't forget to shout at the eunuchs who were standing there in surprise. Lin Xing could also see that this dog day was already feeling a bit scared. Having these people watching was just pretending to be calm. Quickly, Zayamazhi took Lin Xing to a room. After bringing the door, Zayamazhi walked to the table and sat down on the stool. Tell me, what's important? Did you sit down? Stand up for me. Lin Xing sternly said, give me a bluff first before we talk. Upon hearing this, Zayamazhi's heart thumped for a moment, but it became even more ambiguous. It didn't seem like she was begging for mercy and giving herself silver. Also, the newly arrived eunuch, how could he have such an aura and courage? Without familiarity, he wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Without any accidents, Shuangwen stood up involuntarily. Xiaolinzi, you. Pop. Before Zayamazhi could finish speaking, Lin Xing was like a fierce big mouth. I don't know how to die, but I blinded your dog's eyes. Did you call me Xiaolin? Zayamazhi covered her face with a bewildered expression, and a big pussy directly covered her. Without saying a word, Lin Xing pulled Xiaomao aside and casually sat down, his thighs curled up on his legs. Xiaomao looked at Lin Xing at a loss, a bully who was afraid of the hard. He really didn't know what to say in this scene. Lin Xing frowned and said, I don't know what the dead dog is still doing. Do you want me to give Grandpa another big mouth as a reminder? Have you never eaten pork? Can you still not see pigs running? Chasing so many palace dramas can be considered useful. Upon hearing his big mouth, Zayamazhi suddenly felt a pain on his face. After regaining consciousness, he didn't hesitate and knelt down directly on the ground. Xiao. Grandpa Lin, are you? Lin Xing felt a wave of pride in his heart. He was right in his thinking and had already intimidated this dog. However, there's nothing unusual about it. Dog Day is just a small shrimp. Chapter 10. You are truly a better eunuch than that little cow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You don't deserve to know about my affairs. Forget it, young master. I don't have the mood to argue about this matter with you, a lackey. Get out now and call that bastard Wu De here for me. Lin Xing thought to himself, since the situation had reached this point, he might as well pretend to be bigger. Besides, he also expected that Xiaomao wouldn't dare to go this dog day. It can be imagined that he has caused such a big trouble himself. If Wu Gonggong continues to be punished, the old man will not turn the other way and blame all his anger on him. He may not have a good life in the future. Nima, you bet. Just bet, as a loyal henchman of Wu De, Zayamazhi knows to some extent the inside story. If we pass the level smoothly this time, all these things were told by Gu Lingshuang. This kindness will be repaid well in the future. After Lin Xing finished speaking, he saw Xiaomao kneeling on the ground without moving, lowering his head in silence, clearly pondering and judging the pros and cons involved. Good omen. Later, Lin Xing frowned and said, What are you still procrastinating about? Hurry up and call Wu De for that damn thing. I'm very angry now. Upon hearing this, Zayamazhi's figure trembled and he quickly lifted his head, saying, Lin Gonggong, you're all so small that you're blinded by eating shit. I have eyes but no eyeballs. Please forgive me if you have a large amount, but I don't know. During his speech, Xiaomao kowtowed like pounding garlic. Lin Xing smiled knowingly, feeling very comfortable in his heart. Not only did he make the right bet, but he also had full confidence in dealing with the foolish person in front of him who could only bully the weak. In fact, Zaimatsu didn't think much about anything else, and judging Lin Xing's background may be one of them. More importantly, the matter between Duke Wu and the lady cannot be revealed to the higher authorities. After reading this, Xiaomaozi was even more flustered. Even if it wasn't the eyeliner sent by the leader, he could not provoke the strength that even Duke Wu didn't pay attention to him. I'll spare you. You probably have a rough idea of my identity, and those two eunuchs in the kitchen will also think a lot. You know, how did I spare you? Lin Xing spoke very systematically. After all, he relied on bluff and did not have any actual real things, so he still needed to leave some room for improvement. This trick, if used against that old eunuch Wuda, is unlikely to succeed. Upon hearing this, Zaimatsu couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief as he realized there was a sense of relief in it. Mr. Lin, I'll use my own life to guarantee that those two eunuchs won't talk too much. If you don't believe me, I can find a way to make those two eunuchs keep silent forever. Upon hearing this, Lin Xing felt relieved. This kid was quite reasonable and knew he might need to hide his identity. That would be even better. Lin Xing glared at him and snorted coldly, look at what you can do. It's not something important. I really want to kill you now. After speaking, he even pretended to hold up his hand and made a gesture of slapping your kid to death. Ah! Xiaomaozi was startled and quickly waved his hand, saying, Lin Gonggong, Lin Yi, don't do it. I will be your dog from now on. Whatever you ask me to do, I will listen to you. Is that right? Yes, yes, I dare not lie. If I tell a lie, I will be a eunuch in my next life. Xiaomaozi didn't hesitate at all. In order to make Lin Xing believe, he cursed directly. You idiot, don't even use your pig brain. Who is Duke Wu? And who is that lady? Damn it, on the first day I arrived, I was fucked by you. I almost exposed my identity. Lin Xing looks like the timing is approaching and is ready to finish work. However, if he wants Xiaomaozi to have no doubts, he still needs to reveal some useful information. Although it is ambiguous, the meaning that can be extended here is quite significant. Hearing the words, Zaimatsu first took a long breath, then kowtowed and said, damn me, I am blind. Alright, don't fart with me here. Lin Xing impatiently waved his hand, and Xiaomaozi's voice suddenly stopped. Now, there should be no problem. For the sake of your shrewdness, I'll spare you this time for now, but if this matter were to be leaked out a little bit, I'll make the most of it. Before my head falls to the ground, I will definitely kill you, kid. Don't worry, Mr. Lin. I dare not, I will definitely not let any news out. Xiaomaozi quickly replied. Alright, get up. Yes, thank you, Mr. Lin. Thank you very much, Mr. Lin. Xiaomaozi stood up and instinctively wiped the sweat off his forehead. Lin Xing looked in his eyes and thought to himself, there's no problem with that. He was scared and sweated profusely. If he persisted for a while, he might just pee. Look at the sweat all over your forehead, you should be thirsty, right? Lin Xing suddenly said calmly. Upon hearing this, Zaimatsu's heart thumped, and a bad feeling surged in her heart. This. Little one, are you thirsty or not? Nima. Lin Xing suppressed a smile and said, Are you asking me? Xiaomaozi saw Lin Xing frown and quickly waved his hand, saying, No, Mr. Lin, thank you very much for your concern. I'm a little thirsty. Do you still have foresight in the tricks you have used before? Well, since you're thirsty, I'll reward you with a cup of herbal tea to calm your nerves. It's also a welcome gift from me. Thank you very much, Mr. Lin. While speaking, Lin Xing picked up the teapot on the table and poured a cup of tea. As expected by Xiaomaozi, Lin Xing then spat a few mouthfuls inside. This kind of method of treating people well may be a bit awkward, but I'll just do as the Romans do when in Rome. During the conversation, Lin Xing gestured. Please start your performance. Zayamazi picked up the tea bowl, as if he had been treated like this before. He didn't even say a word and just took a bite to dry it. Thank you very much, Mr. Lin. After carefully putting down the tea bowl, Zayamazi didn't forget to say thank you. Lin Xing stood up, smiled slightly, and casually said, afraid of Xiao Maozi's shoulder, you are truly a more excellent eunuch than that little cow. Where, Mr. Lin, you flattered me. Upon hearing this, Zayamazi quickly put on a respectful smile on his face. He was already shabby in appearance and smiled awkwardly, no matter how ugly he was. Lin Xing nodded lightly and said, work hard in the future. If you behave well, I will reward you with something better. Yes, Lin Yi, don't worry, I have no second thoughts. Little Maozi couldn't tell that this was a warning to himself. Alright, it's not time to deliver the meal right away, let's not waste time either. Yes, Mr. Lin, please. Zayamazi nodded and casually made a gesture of invitation. Lin Xing was not polite either, but as he approached the door, he suddenly stopped, as if he had thought of something. By the way, Zayamazi, before I came, I was throwing tantrums at those bastards in the prison. The pants I lost were almost ruined.